Hi, my name's Stephen Han, and I'm running for Mayor of Onkaparinga. This is my toy poodle. Now, I've brought Marla to help me try and explain some data. So, as you would know, COVID came out and the emergency departments went crazy, hospitals went crazy, and the whole world changed. And there was massive waiting time, so everyone's waiting a long time in hospital for services. In fact, Noarlunga Hospital really struggles. Only 20% of patients are met within the agreed waiting times. And you'll see in the data, lots of patients are waiting 5 and 6 hours to be treated in emergency. This competes with Queensland, where most patients are treated in 18 minutes. Now, prior to the last election, our local members were saying, share with us your experiences in waiting in emergency departments. And all these people would write in and say, I was waiting 5 hours and 6 hours. Now, this is like listening. We're trying to listen to people. And I've been thinking about this because I'm running for mayor, and I'm like, well, maybe I need to listen to people. Or maybe I need to actually do something, and I do need to do some research. So what I thought, Stephen, it's really bad in emergency departments right now. There's big waiting times. Everyone's waiting a long time. And that's because of COVID. COVID's creating all this, all the ramping that we hear a lot about. So it must be there's a lot more patients going in ED. Right, Miles? She looks confused. So what I did is I pulled up some statistics, because statistics are tells you everything you need to know. Now, these statistics go back 10 years and they include data to June 21. So the cutoff for data is financial year. So the 2022 data, which is coming, will not be available to the Department of Health in Canberra and the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare until January next year. All right, so the data is 6 months behind. So we can only work with 2021 data. But COVID, luckily for us, COVID was around in 2021, time the election and all that sort of stuff, and ramping, emergency times of going crazy, and there was people panicking, and there's lots of TV ads about emergency care. And, don't go to emergency, go to your local doctor. So this got me thinking about the data. It must be there's lots of people going to emergency, and they don't need to be in emergency, because otherwise we wouldn't be running all these TV ads which are costing thousands and thousands of dollars. Because it does cost thousands and thousands of dollars every time you see one of those ads. Well, here's the data for you. Now, what's amazing in this data, each one of these is a classification. So when you go to ED, you are classified in a category. There's 4 categories. From resuscitation, which basically means you've got to be seen in 2 minutes. I think 2 minutes. Otherwise, you're going to die because you're not breathing. And luckily for us, half the patients in Noarlunga are seen in the agreed time. Is that good or bad? I don't know. So, it's probably not good. And I'm not having a go at the hospital. So don't think I am. I'm having a go at funding and what we report on and the messages we give to the public. Because what I'm seeing in these graphs is actually the number of presentations at Noarlunga has decreased over the time. Now, the population has increased in Noarlunga. It's clearly increased in 10 years. You know it's increased. You don't need to tell me. Like, the roads, the number of new subdivisions down south are massive. So there's a lot more people. Mella's lost interest. There's a lot more people down south, or she wants to go and chase the cat. There's a lot more people down south than there used to be. Now, the number of presentations is when I say way down, it's down. So then I want to look at funding. So because the state government has given this thing that we're giving a lot more funding to emergency departments. Now, it doesn't matter if you're Liberal or Labor, because Liberal gave this pledge, they gave a lot of funding to ED departments, which was a surprise to me, because when I went to ED, there was one doctor, and there was a huge wait time, and that doctor was rushed off his feet, and I felt very, very sorry for him. And I was like, I wish I was still Director in Health so I could do something about this. Anyway, so I tried to find how much the funding has been for Noarlunga Hospital, for the ED department over time, or even like just now. Let's try and find some statistics. Now, I couldn't actually find any data on on how much our ED departments are funded, our emergency departments are funded in this state. So it made it very hard for me to go, well, look, there's more or less funding and what's going on. And this is part of the problem, and this is what we need to raise. Because what I feel is this is lots of smoke and mirrors is going on here, where we just go, look, tell me what your problem is. Tell Marla what your problem is. Let's see if she can fix it. Because I think it's almost as effective as what we have at the moment. Now, you're going to say Mayor has no impact on hospitals. Well, I'm going to disagree, because we can raise all this stuff. We can raise this with our local members. We've got, I'm going to say, 4 local members, one of which is an ex-mayor of Onkaparinga. And we can say, well, look, can we get some information to see what the funding's like at Noarlunga, and let's see how it's changed over the last so many years, because this is all public information. And let's have a look at the number of cases being presented. And let's discuss funding for this hospital. Let's see how much more it would cost to get our emergency departments and get our patients treated in the agreed standards, because that's what we want. We want the same level of service as what the other states are getting. And especially down south, where our statistics look worse than most of the other hospitals in the state, we want our services to be equivalent to other hospitals. Now, I was just looking at the report on funding for hospitals and what we're funding. Now, it probably comes as no surprise to you that Noarlunga was not on that list. So it didn't come as any surprise to me, but Noarlunga was not on that list. Now, I think there's a massive growth in the area down south. There's 170,000 people down south, and I think it's fair enough to ask for some hospital services down south. Don't you, Miles? Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand, and I'm running for Mayor of Onkaparinga. I'd appreciate your vote, and then we can get to work and actually get some runs on the table and get things improved for the residents down here. Thanks for watching.